Welcome back. You're watching Startup Street. Now, Jammu and Kashmir has recently launched a new startup policy with an aim to set up 2,000 new startups in the Union Territory by 2027. The startup ecosystem of Kashmir has been marred by terrorism and instability of law and order for long, but things are changing. My colleague Shivani Bazaz caught up with three famous startups from the Kashmir Valley to understand the roadblocks and the way forward for Kashmir's startup ecosystem.
Well, the startup culture that is really thriving in most parts of the country hasn't really taken off in a lot of areas, including the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Even after a lot of government push, there are a lot of challenges that these entrepreneurs, the startups, face in the state. But joining me right now are three such startups which have not only overcome these challenges but have also paved way for more startups from the state to come. First is Mohit Mehraj, founder of Kashmir Box. Then we have Abid Rashid Lone of Fast Beetle and Ubair Shah of E-Fruit Mandi. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on CNBC-TV18. We've seen startups thriving in places like Bangalore, Delhi, Mumbai, Hyderabad and all of these metros, even in the T2 cities. But there are specific challenges in J&K that none of these startups in other states would understand. Can you give me a glimpse, first of all, of these challenges that you face in this state?
I think in terms of the ecosystem, the first and foremost challenge was the availability of working hours and working days in a particular financial year itself. So the condition that we were living in usually had curfews, bands, hartals, and because of all of that, generally it used to be 100-odd day work year in a calendar, and that anyways was putting us behind, with just a 33% of the year being used as a financial year in terms of the work that we could do. Second, obviously, in terms of the ecosystem that's developing in Bangalore or Delhi even, I think one of the major factors that plays a role there is internet, because that is one aspect that has revolutionized the whole startup community across the world. In Kashmir, because of the challenges we had of internet shutdowns, we used to have almost 100 plus shutdowns a year, again posing a massive challenge for any entrepreneur or any startup to even imagine building a startup here in Kashmir.
Abid, you were one of the first startups to appear on the national television and receive a funding. How did you break through that ceiling of all these challenges? Are there more infrastructural challenges for startups right now in J&K?
Definitely. I think there are so many challenges here. When it comes to infrastructure, there are no right incubation centers here. So when we basically started our journey, our first motive was to basically be cash positive, because we knew we may not get a right investment here. So this is one of the reasons that we thought we'll first make some profits, then it would be easier for us to get funds. But if we were in Delhi, Bangalore, it was an easy option for us to get the funds.
I'll come to you, Ubair. Your startup solves a major problem for a state which is primarily an agriculture dependent state. Tell us about the challenges that you faced, except for the fact that you are also an agri-tech platform and internet and technology is one of the things that you also need. Other than that, what are the other challenges that are very intrinsically just in Jammu and Kashmir?
Yes, if I talk about the technology, as you said, technology has been, if you talk about technology, the internet has to be there. So for my startup, exactly, because I work in an agri-tech space and primarily I had to work with farmers, and then of course they use certain amount of technologies in terms of getting the daily updates for their weather advisories, so that they can make informed decisions on the fields. And also we get the inputs from them, exactly what kind of produce they have. So technology, of course, is the first thing that was a major challenge for us prior to 2018. But the major, apart from technology, I would say the access to capital. For example, there has been huge funding across the country, particularly for agri-tech startups. But for my startup, I have faced two challenges because the location, particularly the geography I come from, the investors, I approached a lot of investors to come and invest in this sector, even if it was a promising sector. So we are like, from day one, we are cash positive. But there was a certain amount of hesitation among investors.
State government, how important is that when it comes to the ecosystem of startups?
What I would say there is definitely having a local government would help, because on a national level, of course, you have a bird's eye view of what's happening, but you also need local representatives in place to understand the nuances of the place.
Abid, what do you have to say about an elected government?
I think it is necessary to have a local government who can actually focus on the local businesses, startups, because they can actually see what are the actual problems. So I think more of the focus is required from the local government.
So there's a wave of change in the startup ecosystem, but a lot needs to be done. That is the major takeaway. We are standing right now in Srinagar, just opposite the iconic Dal Lake. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us here on CNBC TV18 and sharing your valuable insights.
And with that, it is a